How about it, y'all? Welcome back to Lake Seminole Ramblins. I'm your host, local guide Chris Taylor. Thanks so much for joining me in this new and improved format of the Ramblins. First and foremost, we're going to take a look at current conditions and see what we're looking at. This is an app called Ventusky. It's one of my personal favorites for weather and wind and stuff. This morning it's a little chilly. We've been running about 50 to 53 degrees. We're about 50 degrees up here on the drain. Wind speed is a steady 5 with wind gusting already this morning about 13 miles an hour. The forecast for today, we are going to see probably 20-mile-an-hour gusts, which is about typical for this time of year. We're going to see steady winds of about 12 miles an hour today with gusts about 20. So we'll take a look at the lake level. All right, lake level is at, let's see what we at this morning. So they got the gates open this morning. We at 76.84 and falling, so we should have a pretty decent bite this morning with the water dropping down. So you notice that earlier in the week, we had a pretty significant amount of water that comes in. So what you can see is, thing about this lake is every bit of water in the state of Georgia. So here's our lake right here. And here's the state of Georgia. Flint River runs here. The Chattahoochee River runs here. Every drop of water that comes in this state drains right here. So what you see a lot of times is, the Flint River side, which is here, can get pretty nasty. The Chattahoochee can get pretty nasty. What we saw last week was just crazy current coming down. Buoys were laying over. Water was real nasty. Easter time, my stepmom's place, you could see, her place is right here on the creek. You can see across all the way. The creek looked fairly stained, I mean, nothing too crazy. And then when you looked out over the Flint here, it was just chocolate milk water. So, pretty interesting. We are seeing the bass fishing's been pretty good. It's kind of hit or miss depending on what day you're going and what the conditions are in that particular area. I'm seeing a lot of good stuff happening at the Crow's Foot, and I'm catching some fish up in the drain, up in Ray's Lake area. A lot of bass are being caught when the current is not going too crazy around the fire breaks and the banks over on this side here. Catching some fish over here as well. We had Randy Weaver caught a 9.6 last week. It was in this general area. I'm not going to pinpoint exactly where it was, but it was on the south bank of the Flint side. You can see the scale and the fish, and it actually did come on on an underspin with a 4-inch swim bait, which was pretty interesting. But we are seeing the shad spawn first thing in the morning. You got to be there at daybreak, otherwise you're not gonna see them shad spawn in low light conditions. So throw a spinner bait. That's my recommendation. And what I like to do is I watch my spinnerbait back to the boat. So I'll wear my polarized glasses even if it's real early and just keep my eyes on that spinnerbait. And if the water clarity is correct, you'll be able to see like a big ball of bait around your spinnerbait. Or sometimes you can feel them kind of bumping and stopping the blades and all. That's what you want. So you want that ball of shad to be around your spinnerbait. When that bass comes up, sees that ball of shad, he's like, oh, hell yeah. And when all the shad pull off, he crushes that spinnerbait. So that's what you need to be doing to catch your bass right now. Once the shad spawn dies off, you need to go to about a 10.5-inch old monster or a long ribbon tail worm. And June bug red's working real well for me. And you just drag around and set that hook when you feel that bite. You got to take your time and you got to work that worm because you got to remember shad spawn fish. They lock down. We call it the light switch. They get full, get full, and then all of a sudden they done. It's like going to Country Time buffet, and you just got to sit back and open up your belt and get another notch in there. So they get full. You gotta make them eat. I am starting to see a pretty decent topwater bite as well. Those are eating. I'm just throwing a real small popper, and they inhaling that thing like they never seen something before. So, pretty good bite on that aspect there. Big congratulations to Mr. Tim Trone. This man right here is the Catfish Hammer. He shattered the new blue catfish lake record. Not blue catfish. Dadgum. He's the state record holder for blue catfish, and he broke the flathead catfish 53 pounds. So that is a hellacious damn catfish. My personal best on this lake was 47 pounds. That was way back in, golly, when was that? 2008, something like that. This fish is bigger for sure. That's a beast. So congratulations, Tim. He is the record man. That's awesome there. Y'all, the shellcracker are obviously on fire, as you see right here. So areas that I like to look for them. So right here is Seeley's Landing. It doesn't look like it till you get up there, but there's sandbars. You can actually see, here's one right here. Here's one right here. And there's some over here. Cruise these areas and look around. You'll see them bedding. And then there's a run. It comes out. You can see the hole in the grass here. All of these areas are potential bedding spots for these big shellcracker. And all these islands back up in here through the fire break and all. So check up in there if you need to find a shellcracker. You can also go up here way up the drain and go into Ray's Lake. They plentiful up in Ray's Lake. And seeing some over in this area as well as you can come back here into the Cypress, Turkey Pond, Hickory Pond areas and find them over there as well. So if you like shellcracker fishing, the time is now. I like to joke around and say it's time when you see all the stick steering boats in the county come out and go down there. So I've been seeing them quite a bit, and that picture right there shows you what's going on with them. All right, so if y'all want to help the Bainbridge Bass Cats boys go to state, they are selling barbecue plates for $10. The pickup for this is June 3rd, 2023, from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Grimsley's Pharmacy in Bainbridge on Evans Street. If you live inside the Bainbridge city limits, they will deliver for free. So support our boys and help send them to state. They are some hellacious hammers. And my last topic to discuss with y'all is, it's not fishing related, but it's community related. Do you see this list right here? This is the list, and you see one of those is Mitchell EMC, that's right down the street. Grady EMC, that's right next door. Flint Energies. But what's missing off of this electric list? Do y'all see? 3-notch. What we use. Okay, so this is the list of all the EMCs in South Georgia to Middle Georgia that have partnered with an internet service provider to bring fiber internet to rural communities. But notice that we're not on the list. So this is kind of a gripe thing here. Seminole County has, 8,800 people that live in the county. Wilcox County, which is in the center of the states over by Cordele, it has pretty much the same population, but they have no lake over there. They have no nothing. It's landlocked. There's no attractions. There's no nothing. And they're getting fiber internet. We're not getting fiber internet. We're still running internet from 20 years ago. It's time to get modernized. So what we need to do is call the county commissioners and ask them why we're not on this list. Call 3-notch and ask them why we're not on this list, because I got a little bit of insider knowledge. We had lightning come hit the house a couple days ago, or not a day, probably 2 weeks ago. Lightning hit the house, and I had to get the router and all redone. Windstream came by, and I asked him, I said, hey, just curious, how come we're not doing this? The guy at Windstream said that they reached out to 3-notch and the county and offered to partner with them to provide us with fiber internet, and they said no. So call them and ask them why. So if y'all remember during COVID, when we had no school for weeks, do you know why there was no school? Because we don't have the internet. Like in other counties, they brought in trucks with Wi-Fi extenders and stuff to get. There's no excuse in 2023 why we don't have modern internet in this area. We are 40 miles from the capital of Florida. Like, yeah, we live in a remote area, but it's not that remote. I've lived in places in Montana that was way remoter than this. We had internet. So call, ask, start talking. So we like to get active about stuff. Let's get some internet in this area, because I know y'all are sick of not having good internet. This is fiber, and y'all don't understand how fast fiber is and how reliable it is. So I would be calling and asking why Grady and Irwin County and Mitchell and all these other counties, why they get to have a fiber and Lake Seminole County don't get to have fiber internet. It's amazing, ain't it? So, guys, can't even talk today. I want to say thank you so much for continuing to support the channel. I hope that the new format is awesome for y'all. Trying to keep it short and sweet so I don't waste everybody's time. But that's a big thing to me, is at least being able to show you what we're looking at and give you a little more depth and stuff like that. So make sure to hit like and subscribe. I need that from y'all to help the channel grow. And now we're going to fight against the algorithm, and we're going to need as much support as we can get. Comment below what you thought about the episode, and we'll see you next time.